Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I got a lot of tabs open because there's just so many individual things that I feel like I need to convey to you because things are really starting to happen. So I wanted to start out, first of all, this is, my main page here for YouTube, and I wanted to just remind you I do playlists, and so each week or so, sometimes it's a couple weeks together and then I go back and split them up, but every week I do like the videos for that week in a playlist, and I try to keep the current playlists here so that you can check them because everybody's busy, and sometimes it's nice on a playlist you can just like click play all and it'll play all of them there, like if you were on vacation or something. So anyway, the community tab is what I wanted to show you. Now, I do have to tell you that YouTube does not do a good job of allowing us to, keep abreast of what's going on the comments here, because in order to see what comments you've made, I have to go through this procedure. It doesn't put them with all the rest of the other comments, like when I'm reviewing regular comments. And I can do that on my cell phone, and I can do that, on YouTube itself too, in the Creator Studio. But yeah, this you can't. Now, I hope they're working on integrating this into that new beta, but it hasn't happened yet as far as I know. But I did put a couple of videos here that I thought I would point out. This one is about Pete Buttigieg. Yeah, he's being checked out because they're looking into some program that he did. This is Judicial Watch that's doing this. And evidently he had a program going on, and you have to understand, I don't live in South Bend, so I don't always know what's going on up there. And this was one program that kind of slipped by and I didn't notice it. But essentially what they were doing is giving people who are illegal, who live there, an ID so they could be normal people and be treated just like U.S. citizens. So I didn't know about that, or believe me, I would have done a video on it a long time ago. But right now, Judicial Watch is suing to get some of the documents about this. Yeah, and the group that did it was not a government group. And the reason, they even admitted the reason they didn't do it was because they didn't want it to become public knowledge. Yeah, so they didn't want the public to know, and that might very well be why I didn't know, but he does reference the South Bend Tribune, and I haven't checked that out yet. But anyway, I shared that particular video for you because at least on my cell phone, this comes up, these kinds of comments come up in the feed. So I don't know if it does, with whatever device you're using, but I thought it would do that. And then this one too, this one is just stunning. Well, it's not stunning. We shouldn't be surprised, but it's there. And essentially it's showing how, 255,000 people are, either illegally registered or registered twice so they can vote twice. It's crazy what's going on in California here. No wonder California was being such a stick in the mud when it came to President Trump's organization, that little committee that he formed at the beginning of his term. He had this group and it was run by Mike Pence that was going to, audit and the whole election fraud thing. It was supposed to be checking that out. And the Democrats gave them so much of a problem with it that they ended up disbanding. But, well, not totally disbanding. What they did was they were absorbed, I believe, into DHS. And so I don't know what came of it. I don't know if they were still working. I was led to believe they were from some of the articles I read, but I don't know. So anyway, those were two that came up. And again, if they didn't come up in your feed, probably that's the only way to get to them. It's just not very convenient. It's not like integrated with the rest of YouTube. So it makes it hard for me. If I don't get back to you right away on a comment that you made here, that's why. Because I have to literally go there, and I really cannot see them on my cell phone. Anyway, let's get into stuff because, like I said, I've got several things for you to see. I just want you to be informed because so much is happening that I'm trying to hit some of the highlights here. One of them is this that came out. The Senate report finds Clinton emails sent to cryptic Gmail. And I have the document here. I will show you in just a minute. But yeah, this is starting to come out to light. Now, this is really important. okay, that they're establishing that Clinton's emails were sent to this Gmail account. All right. Now that's extremely important because we're going to find out eventually this is going to lead to that shared Gmail account that they all had, and they were all using it to pass information just by using the draft folder. You see, they weren't sending it. They were under the impression that as long as they didn't send the emails and they just kept them in the draft folder, that nobody could track them. And they were wrong. So, yeah, that is going to come out because that's where a lot of the major stuff happened. Their plans, they were discussing them back and forth. And I'm pretty sure that when those draft documents come out, they're going to be like jaw-dropping. I really think so. So I wanted to point that out to you. And as always, I'll put all the links down below. So here's the document that they're talking about. It came out to Senator Grassley, and it's from the Finance Committee and the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. Now remember, this is Senate, so we are the majority in the Senate. So this is all between the Republicans here. And this is about the investigation of the DOJ's and FBI's handling of the Clinton investigation. Now, I will tell you this is a 105-page document. I have not read hardly any of it yet, but I wanted to get this out and make sure that you had the link. You could go through it too. But essentially, as I understand it from the reports, this says, hey, she had this email system set up on her servers and they were being sent to some Gmail account. Well, how secure is that? And it was including some of the classified, all the classified stuff. This also mentions something that Louis Gohmert mentioned during the Peter Strzok hearing that they had. Unfortunately, this comment of Louis Gohmert's got lost in the shuffle because right after he said this, then he kind of got on Strzok about the whole affair thing and how would his wife feel about knowing this and, all of that. And unfortunately, that's what everybody latched onto because they seriously did not want the comment he said right before that, which was that Hillary Clinton's emails had this software attached to it, this malware, that was sending copies of them to somewhere else. And I'm pretty sure right now it probably was China at this point. So we got that here, and this is what they're talking about. Lawsuit seeks documents potentially showing FBI ignored intelligence community IG evidence that Chinese hacked Clinton's server. So that's connected with this. And I'll leave the link down below. I mean, this is just starting to all come out. And so this is Judicial Watch. The watchdog group Judicial Watch is suing the Office of Director of National Intelligence, the ODNI. Yeah, that's, Dan Coates, which he is on his way out. He's not going to be around much longer. I don't know his last day, but it's got to be really soon, because he was only supposed to be there about 3 weeks in August. And they're suing the ODNI to produce records detailing the FBI response to warnings that a foreign power has compromised then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's email server. So here's where they say it. The Intelligence Community Inspector General found that Clinton's server was compromised with malware that caused every one of Clinton's emails to be copied to a foreign entity, according to a congressman on the House Judiciary Committee. And that congressman, this is Louis Gohmert, is the one that said this. Here. In July 2018, during the committee's questioning of Strzok, Republican Texas Representative Louis Gohmert described a meeting in which named members of the ICIG staff met with Strzok. He said they informed Strzok of an anomaly they had found on Hillary Clinton's emails that were going to the private unauthorized server that you were supposed to be investigating. It was going to an unauthorized source that was a foreign entity unrelated to Russia, Gohmert said. At the hearing, Strzok acknowledged the meeting, but claimed he did not recall qualified fellow government investigators telling him about a massive national security breach that would be a major smoking gun in the case he was working on. The forensic examination was done by the ICIG, and they can document that, Gohmert said. But you were given that information, and you did nothing with it. And then, right after he said that, then he did the comment about the wife, and That's all everybody focused on, and nobody was playing the clip of this right here. That is what should have been played, and I was watching it when it was happening. I'm like, there's the clip, folks. That's what needs to be out there. He just said that. So, yeah, this big, huge that this is coming out, and it's going to be out there big time. Now, this article actually is from March 28th, but this was just put out there, and its date is August 14th. So yeah, this is new. And basically it starts out, I just wanted to tell you about that. And this Johnson guy is the chairman of the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. And remember, we're talking Senate again, so the Republicans are the majority. We write to provide you with information that we developed as part of your investigation into the mishandling of highly classified information and operation of a non-government server for official business by Secretary Clinton and her associates. Statements made in a joint bipartisan staff interview by Intelligence Committee officials involved in the classification review raised particular concerns that senior State Department officials sought to downgrade classified material found on the server. Your investigation began in March 2015 with an initial focus on whether State Department officials were aware of Secretary Clinton's private server and the associated national security risks, as well as whether State Department officials attempted to downgrade classified material within emails found on that server. For example, in August 2015, Senator Grassley wrote to the State Department about reports that State Department FOIA specialists believe some of Secretary Clinton's emails should be subject to the B1 classified information exemption, whereas attorneys within the Office of the Legal Advisor preferred to use the B5 deliberative process exemption. Whistleblower career employees within the State Department also reportedly notified the intelligence community that others at state involved in the review process deliberately changed classification determinations to protect Secretary Clinton. Your inquiry later extended to how the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation managed their investigation of the mishandling of classified information. Anyway, it does go on, and then it gets into some of the it goes down a little ways. These are the different things that were going on. This was a letter that was on December 4th, 2018. The majority and minority staff on the Senate Committee of the Judiciary and Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs interviewed two former intelligence community inspector general employees, and they were Jeanette McMillan and Frank Rucker. Attached, please find a summary of the majority's questioning and the respective answers provided by each interviewee. And this was to the Inspector General for the intelligence community. So if you go through, this is like, these were the participants, and then down here they start with the different questions that they were asking them. And so that's about all the further I got on this. But if you read this article, you'll see that the thing was, there's a problem with the ICIG, the Intelligence Community IG, Inspector General. Hillary probe plagued by mysterious tales on investigators, leaks possibly by Clinton-linked attorney. Okay, so, yes, the Intelligence Community Inspector General believed one of his attorneys may have been leaking, according to a new Senate report. And that's the Senate report is the one back here. That's what they're referring to, this document. So it says Paul Wagaman, I guess, the son of the Clintons' pastor, worked for the ICIG at the time and, according to the report, has ties to the Trump administration's what? Office of the Director of National Intelligence, ODNI. The ICIG identified classified emails on Clinton's server that Peter Strzok, working for the FBI, missed. Oh yeah, he missed them. Ha ha ha. He didn't miss them. He was trying to cover them up is what he was doing. The ICIG said Democrats lashed out at him as a result, alleging partisanship. Multiple ICIG investigators were followed by a strange Jeep that followed an investigator from the State Department and went through one's recycling, according to the report. So something fishy's going on, and you gotta know that the guy that was part of it was tied to the Clintons. Are you surprised? I'll bet you're not. So I'm going to leave the articles down below so you can read them and in their full. But I'm telling you, it's fishier the further you get. It just is crazy. So we know, she had these emails that were tied to China, and it just goes on. And then the ICIG that was supposed to be working on the investigation ends up having an attorney that was tied to the Clintons, and it's just so complicated. You know what? I really feel bad for the kids that have to study this later on, because it's so crazy for us living through it. It's crazy. Can you imagine what it's going to be like trying to fit all these pieces in and say, no, wait a minute, it was this and then this. It's so complex. You couldn't write a story this way. And of course, being an author, I always think of that. And I couldn't write a story this complex because people wouldn't be able to follow all the little trails. So anyway, I wanted to point all these articles out to you. And again, all the links will be down below. Then I wanted to show you this one. It doesn't really fit in, but I wanted to kind of bring it to you because I think it's important for those of us who maybe use Bibles a lot, because the problem is most Bibles nowadays are printed in China. And so with the tariff, there was this big concern that it was going to make Bibles, the cost of Bibles go way up because they come from China. And so, which is ironic because China doesn't want their people to read the Bible, but they're willing to print them for us. Yeah. Anyway, so I wanted to show this article to you, and evidently President Trump has decided that Bibles are going to be exempt from the tariff when the tariff increases come, because they didn't want it to be considered a Bible tax. And so there are some items, certain products are being removed from the tariff list based on health, safety, national security, and other factors, and will not face additional tariffs of 10%. So the Bibles are one of those. Okay, there you go. You can rest assured that you won't have to worry about that. Anyway, let's go back to things that will make you go grr. And this is one of them, okay? Oh my goodness. Yeah, the Democrats are not happy with the Supreme Court right now, because at this point it has a majority of conservatives. Well, we hope. You never can trust what Roberts is going to do. He's controlled. So, sometimes he votes with us and sometimes he doesn't. And even Kavanaugh a couple times has voted with the other side. And I think Gorsuch did once. The Dems usually do not vote with us. And if they do, it's like an all or nothing type thing. So this is, wow, I don't even know what to say about this one. So New York has this gun law they're trying to put into place. Well, it's been appealed and it's going to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court has decided, well, they did decide that they were going to hear it. Well, some of the Democrats were not real happy, and they've decided Democrats order the justices to drop a gun case or else. Yeah. When liberals worry about losing a major Supreme Court case, they usually make appeals to the court's legitimacy. This is intended to attract Chief Justice John Roberts by suggesting that a conservative outcome would damage the institution's reputation. The ritual is disingenuous, but usually subtle. Which, by the way, why are they even doing that? 5 Democratic senators have had it with subtle. In a remarkable and threatening amicus brief, and amicus is a Latin word for friend, and so it's supposed to be a friend of the court or a friend of the person that's in the trial, and so that's what an amicus brief is. Well, they've put in this threatening amicus brief. Sheldon Whitehouse, Mazie Hirono, Richard Blumenthal, Richard Durbin, and Kirsten Gillibrand all but tell the justices that they'll retaliate politically if the court doesn't do what they say in a Second Amendment case. I mean, serious. The Supreme Court is not well, they tell the justices, in what is really an enemy of the court brief. Perhaps the court can heal itself before the public demands it be restructured in order to reduce the influence of politics. Hello? Do they not see that they're the ones injecting politics in there? Oh, yeah, and by restructured, they mean packed with new justices by a Democratic president and Senate after they kill the filibuster. So that's what they're whining about, okay? I'll leave the link down below. So that's what this one is. And like I said, I just can't believe that they're at this point. What we're seeing is that the Democrats in Congress right now want to usurp everything, all the power, because there are 3 co-equal branches, supposedly. But that's what Jerry Nadler, the Nothing Man, has been doing. He's trying to usurp all the power from the executive branch. And now that's not working so well. So what are they doing? Now they're working on usurping the power of the Supreme Court and the judiciary branch. So this just stuns me that this is where they're at. But, yeah, anyway. All right, now that's the majority that I have. The last ones are kind of like my personal preference here. This one is going to sound a little out in left field, but I think it's important. You know, I've been reporting to you about what's going on with me personally in my channel because I have access to those statistics, so I can say that. But you may not be aware, this channel, this is the Mean Kitty channel. And this guy had this Mean Kitty song that he made like big time bucks on because it went viral. It was huge. It's a fun little song. He has this cat named Sparta and, so anyway, he's had YouTube channels for 14 years. Now, not this particular channel. I think this one came in 2017 it came in before that, but then I think 2017 is when that song hit and it just went crazy. So this guy, after all this time, he is quitting YouTube. Okay. Now, I was under the impression that the majority of people who were really getting hit with this algorithm that YouTube has implemented recently, most of the people were conservatives. And I guess that's not true. Well, I don't know if he's a conservative or not. His channel's about cats, okay? It's a cat channel. And they have really hit him hard. In fact, now I'm going to show you the statistics here. This is just what I can see from Social Blade. So here's where he was October 17, and he had, look up here when I hit the numbers. Okay, so he had on 11/01/2017, he had 1.12 million views per month. Okay, and it's not a great big channel, but it's okay. And then it really took off, and I think that's probably when the Mean Kitty song came out. I don't know. I don't remember when it was, but evidently he had some really good videos here that took him off. Okay, and you can see down here his subs. These are how many subs he got. So again, he was getting 70,000, almost 71,000 subs per month. And you can see it's up and down, and that's natural. I mean, it's not the same every month, and sometimes you get 1 or 2 videos that really take off, and you get a lot more subs there. And so, he was getting some pretty decent subs. And then about here, this was March 1st, and he had 13.47 million monthly views. Okay, and then it starts going down. I mean, look, from 13 down to 7. I mean, that was almost half right there. And then it went up for a little bit, and then it crashed. And look at this. So for July, as of July 1st, he was getting 2 million views. Now, do you remember what he was getting back here? 19.27 views. He was getting 13, 17, and then it went here, 11, and crashed, 2 million. I mean, look at that. That's almost before he started going up and before his subs went up. Now, his subs also have crashed because he went from 41,000 down to, and that's 41,000 per month. Okay, that's how many he's getting per month. Down to 3.5 thousand per month. I mean, that's huge, folks. That is huge. So I wanted to show that to you. And this guy's channel, he has, how many's he got? 1.2 million people. And he's going to say goodbye because, and he talks about it. He says that his revenue went down like, or his views, I can't remember what, but went down like 96%. And you can't make a living when you've got that kind of climate. If you've got a family, and he has a family, and he says he's doing it for himself and his family because he can't work like that. The stress is killing him because he never knows how much he's going to make every day. And I'm telling you, that I understand that because you never know. I wake up in the morning and I think I've got a good solid video and the little sign on it is yellow. And so I put in for it to be monetized, and it takes them, a day or maybe 2 days. Once in a blue moon, they'll do it pretty fast, but usually it takes a while. And if it's on the weekend, forget about it. So, yeah, I understand what he's saying, but this is a really good video. It's 9 minutes long, and I recommend that you watch it. If you've not seen it, if you've not seen the Mean Kitty song, you need to watch that too, because it was good. But I just wanted to show that to you. And then there's a couple more videos that I want to recommend. This one is Debunking the Trump is a Racist Myth. This guy, Larry Elder, he did such a good job. Now, he works for Epic Times, and he does a really good job of showing how Trump is not racist. And, it's just a good video for you to share with other people, especially people that are trying to say Trump is racist. I think he does a really good job showing why that's just not true. It's not at all. And the whole thing about people looking at skin color just amazes me, especially when you think about Martin Luther King Jr., because his whole thing was he wanted his children to be judged by the quality of their character and not by the color of their skin. But isn't that exactly what we're doing when we're saying, well, Trump is white and he's racist? I mean, that's exactly what they're doing. But anyway, and then I wanted to share this with you. This is a really good video if you're into forensics. This guy is a doctor here. He's an ER doctor. This one over here. And he is being interviewed, but he does most of the talking. He's kind of weighing in on the whole Epstein thing and how he finds it implausible, the whole idea of the suicide. So I wanted to give that to you. Now, if you're kind of squeamish, you might not want to listen to it because he does go into some details. But that's what I found fascinating about it because, I'm a writer. I like to make sure that my writing is authentic. And so I'm not a pathologist and I'm not a medical doctor, but I can listen to people like this and I can apply that then and make sure that details like he expresses here are things that I can include in my work. But anyway, so this was a really good video if you want to hear details because he definitely questions the official narrative. Okay, so that's what I've got for you on this one. I know there were several things, but the news is just pouring out. I'm trying to keep up with things because, I'm afraid to get too far behind with everything that's coming out. So anyway, that's what I've got for you, and I'm going to read more of that document that came out, the 106-page document, and see if there's some other gems in there that maybe I'll share with you. That's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.